All right, just quick check. Are you able to hear? I think you should be able to hear right now. Just have a quick check. Shubham says yes. Mrinalini, Aishwarya, Kashif, Disha, all right. A lot of you guys have been saying yes right now. Okay, great. Quick instructions for all of you guys. Okay, I shall post it up on the sticky message. Okay, great. Yeah, I wasn't speaking. That's why, Rahul, you guys were not able to hear. Okay, perfect. So a quick instruction to all of you guys. Don't worry about the lag in video. Like a lot of you guys keep saying that there's lag in the video slides, whatever it is going to be there. So the slides will be shared with all of you guys towards the end. Make sure you keep taking notes and screenshots of whatever is being discussed, all the important sliders. And last 10 minutes, I will keep it for all your question and answers in terms of what needs to be done, how to do, and what you should be going ahead with. All right, we will quickly wait just for 5 minutes for rest of you guys who are able to join in right now. Guys who keep joining in late, I have put up the instructions on the sticky note up there for all of you guys. So make sure you all are reading that and keep following it. All right, 9:05 sharp, we start. Yeah, Kshitij, guys, don't worry. There was an audio issue because I put it on mute till the time you guys are connecting, since you're waiting for a few students to join in. So don't worry. There'll be no audio or technical issues today with all of you guys. We'll make sure that we are kickstarting with the entire exam, structure and analysis, everything which we've done today. Okay. So keep all your questions towards the end, guys. I just have a few things. I want all of you guys to punch in your dates of your exam. How many of you guys have your exams coming up like in the next week? Thanks, Vaibhav. You're able to hear. Perfect. All right, quickly. So punch in your dates of the exams like coming up, and a couple of you guys might be having your exams tomorrow. Oh wow, Mrinalini has it on 6th tomorrow. Perfect. 1st November, 5th November, 17th, 30th, 7th, 17th, 12th. All right. So we have right from ranging from tomorrow 6th to going down right till the end of November. Okay, great, nice, amazing. So guys who are having your exams tomorrow, this is the last thing you are going to do today for your preparation for the exams. After this workshop, just go down, sleep, relax, and go tomorrow with a fresh set of mind. All right, great. So that's good. I think we've waited a lot for a lot of you guys to join in. Let's get started with the entire session right now. So the first thing foremost, which has been bothering all of you guys in terms of was, how was the difficulty level of the paper, right? So the good thing is the paper was not difficult. It was easy to moderate. No surprises as compared to last year. The pattern is same. No changes at all in the pattern. And in fact, for all of you guys who have been following rigorously, religiously all the previous webinars where we've been discussing about, what to study in each section, which chapters to do and not, trust me, the paper is aligned towards that. So guys who have been sincerely following whatever I've been recommending you guys to do, party's on for you guys. We're going to make sure NMAT is cracked. All right. So let's just get started. Meanwhile, you have any questions, feel free to punch them in, and major questions we'll take it towards the end. All right. This is the first quick overview slide, which I'm sure by now all of you guys are thorough with. How many questions, how much time? Still, if there's someone who's not aware of this, please keep this fixed in your head. Each section, there is a time limit and you cannot exceed. You cannot save time in one section and utilize in the other one. 48 questions, 60 minutes for quants, 40 questions, 38 minutes for LR, 32 questions, 22 minutes in your language section. All right. And remember, there is no negative markings. So each one of you guys, I want to make sure that you are attempting each and every question. All right. Make sure you don't leave a single blank. Mark anything if you're not able to do. All right. Jyotsna, Rashi, don't worry. This is your first session. I'm going to be doing the important topics definitely right now, just after this. So it's all right. If it's your first session, we will be covering up here. Kindle, all the previous webinars you can check out on YouTube. I shall punch in the links towards the end for all of you guys. Okay. Now, I just want to make sure all your questions, Kush, how many DI questions, how many LR questions, everything, hold your horses. We will be covering up these questions, each topic, what you need to study, and in fact, where you need to study from and how do you go about in the next few days towards your exams. All right. So keep your questions to limited for a while, and then let's make sure we are quickly solving all your questions as well also. And last 10 minutes, I'll be there to happily answer all your queries. All right. Moving back. So guys, first time who are attending, I hope this is pretty much clear now. 120 questions, 120 minutes. That's your time limit. All right. No negative marking. So you got to make sure you're attempting all 120 questions, come what may. Okay. And the marking scheme is 3 marks per question. All right. But there is one thing, that there is normalization which happens, which is the reason why people get scores like 208, 209, 213, which 214, which are not multiples of 3, right? So that is because of the normalization. Now, how normalization happens is basically over the entire window where we have like 15, 20 days. Yes, the entire window normalization will happen together. Excuse me. So over the entire window, the normalization will happen by each question's difficulty level is mapped. Then it is seen how many people were able to solve it correctly and how many were not able to do. On that basis, you get your normalized scores, which is why I've been recommending all of you guys that make sure you finish or giving 2 attempts of your NMAT in October and November. Keep these 2 months focused to crack NMAT and don't wait for post your CAT exams, because by then I'm sure everybody's aware, a lot of questions keep coming out. So, normalization pulls your scores down usually towards the end of December. All right, great. So moving on ahead to, I will go ahead with understanding each and every section. So let's split it up the section. So what's the agenda for today is, you have an overview of the exam. So now next we are going to do is, we are going to discuss about each section, how many questions come, what was the difficulty level, and how the overall paper was there in terms of the overall sectional cutoffs. Okay, what is expected. And then we will discuss about what should your schedule be for the next few days. Post that, we will be open for questions. So till then, all your questions, how to improve, what to study, where to study, please keep them towards the end. Okay, I will not be taking your questions in the middle of this right now, because this is very, very important for you guys to understand what and how to study. All right, great. Moving on, we'll first move on to the first section, which is the most dreaded section by almost all the students up here, which is your quantitative ability and data interpretation. It's in fact the most easiest section. The only issue there is DI. Data interpretation is lengthy. And as we have been always discussing and keeping in mind, again, the paper today was full of arithmetic and algebra questions. Okay, so this is a quick summary of, based on the 2 slots of the exams today, there were 20 questions of data interpretation. That means there were 5 sets, all right, of data interpretation, easy to moderate, but definitely lengthy. When I say lengthy, they were more calculation intensive. So you should solve these towards the end of the exam. Good thing is there were data sufficiency questions beyond the DI. So there were 6 questions of data sufficiency, which again were based on your concepts of arithmetic and numbers, not very complex. So people were able to understand that. Okay. Then you had quants, 22 questions. Trust me, quants was easy to moderate. For anybody who has studied the entire basic books of CATKing and NMAT official guide, this section would have been a cakewalk for you. Okay, let's understand the bifurcation of each of these sections of quants, what all came from where. Okay, arithmetic, we saw 8 questions, right from your basic and the most easiest chapter of percentages, profit and loss, simple interest and compound interest, each having 1 question. 3 questions from time and work. Time and work is these days become a must favorite. Another section topic which did not come in today, but I would definitely recommend all of you all to study, is mixtures and allegations. Okay, I hope you guys are keeping and making notes, so I could one of you guys could be the scribe, writing down what additional things you have to do. So make sure mixtures and allegations you're definitely studying. All right, then we had time, speed, distance, 2 questions from that, which is fairly simple based on your direct formulas. These were the major topics from arithmetic, 8 questions, followed by algebra, where we had 6 questions of algebra. Like I had mentioned before, and in almost every session, I always tell you, NMAT does not have an on-screen calculator. So you definitely expect questions of HCF, LCM, remainder theorem, because these are time consuming, right? So they are direct, easy, but time consuming. So make sure you do these chapters really well. There were a lot of questions, like 3 questions from equations and numbers. If I may give you a split, there was 1 question from quadratic equation, 1 from linear equation, and 1 from your basic divisibility rules of numbers. Okay, so when you're studying numbers, make sure to do rules of divisibility and cyclicity. Okay, 2 additional things I've asked you all to study today: mixtures and allegations, and then you have numbers, rules of divisibility, and rules of cyclicity. Sangya, Samiksha, all of these questions, how to study towards the end, 2 days, 3 days, definitely we'll be taking it up. So in last few minutes, we are going to cover it. Don't worry. Fairly easy. There was 1 of geometry, which was based on parallelogram, and the other 2 were based on your mensuration. Okay. Ashi, good question. What is cyclicity? Cyclicity is asking you numbers, divisibility in terms of what will be divisible by what numbers, like the order. If it is a 343, 343 is divisible by 7, right? So just check out those concepts once from your numbers, basic numbers. That's it. Okay, guys who are facing audio issues, please reconnect. Okay, there's a button right on the top which says reconnect. Let me just quickly put that up on the sticky note for all of you guys. Okay, great. So that will help you guys, for that. Abhishek Maurya, yes, I mean cyclicity of remainders. That's correct. Basically, your remainder theorem and rules of divisibility, those questions. Okay, great. Perfect. Moving on ahead. After your geometry and consideration of 3 questions based on that, we had 5 questions from modern maths. For guys who hate this section, good thing is there were very few questions on that, right? So you had permutation combination, 2 questions, probability 1, progressions 1, and logs 1. For people who have not liked logs, have never studied it, it's okay. 1 question you can mark randomly, right? So don't worry about that. If I tell you the overall section, it was an easy to moderate section when it comes to quants. DI was lengthy because of calculation intensive. Okay. So what I would suggest all of you guys is that you should be doing is start with your quants because that's more formula based and direct. Then you move on to the data interpretation and data sufficiency questions towards the end because DI is pretty much lengthy. Rudra, the screen is pretty much clear for everybody, I think. So, do it towards the end. Refresh, reconnect once, it will be better for you. General, there were no ratio proportion questions in today's paper, but definitely do those concepts. You can expect that. Sangdipta, for how much time you should save for DI at the end? If there are 20 questions, 20 minutes, definitely, right? Your objective does not change, which I've been saying multiple times. Each question of quants and DI, 60 seconds. 60 seconds per question. If you're able to solve, good. If not, then move on ahead. This will ensure that you have more time for DI. Okay, you should be helpful. Anmol, I would not advise leaving geometry, but if you have the time, I would suggest at least do the formulas once. If you're able to do the formulas and do 5 example questions of geometry and mensuration, you will be able to understand. Okay. Arpit, there aren't any formulas of DI. For DI, you have to only keep practicing your questions. Do as much as you can. Okay. Path, yes, they do provide rough sheets, blank sheets for rough work. This time, the good thing was they had provided, instead of the glossy paper, it was a little shabby. This time, they had given you the transparency sheets and a marker. So it should be less cumbersome, but let's see, depends on each center, how and what they give you. Okay. Shruti, yes, you can attempt DI first if you're very good with that. Good question, guys. Out of the entire set of these questions, 1 DI question must be left. Okay. Neil, there were a mix of both. Pie charts, bar graphs, and mix, all of them were there. Shalini, I would not recommend that randomly mark DI sets because DI sets are fairly easy. It's just that they took more time for solving. Guys, do not go with any prefixed notions that this topic I am going to randomly mark. What you are going to do is read the question, and if you're able to understand, then randomly mark it. Otherwise, if you're not able to understand, then randomly mark it. Jyotsna, we'll talk all of these questions towards the end. Guys, I want to fix your questions. When you're asking me questions right now, focus on the particular section we are discussing. Generic questions, please keep it towards the end. Okay? Kush, that's correct. 1 set has to be left. 1 set of your DI would be so difficult, which you should be leaving it. Okay. If you're not able to solve this, DI, where to study for all of these books, CATKing basic books, NMAT official guide, and give mock tests, which are actual level mocks. That's what you have to give. Thanks, Nayan. That's actually what precisely I've been trying to say. Keep your questions towards the end. We'll be able to understand very much well. Okay. Keep your questions. I will take care of all your questions towards the end. So hold on right now. All right. This is the entire paper which is there for your quants and DI. All right. So this is what you have to keep in mind. Guys, I'm repeating your questions. I will be taking it towards the end. All of them will be covered up, what to study, where to study. So please hold on your questions. I know it's a lot. You have a lot of doubts, but it will be much helpful for you if you go with understanding first the paper, then how to study and move on to your questions. All right. So all your questions, last 10 minutes, we shall sort them out. Okay, great. Moving on, this entire section, you have an idea right now, right? So what you have to do is in the next few days is please focus on all of them, right? So now what I have told you guys is first attempt your quants questions, then do your DI because it helps you to save time. And I have also mentioned leave one set of DI. Now, what do I mean by leave? I'm going to be referring to leave in a lot of questions in these sections, right? Leave means randomly mark and move on because you are not going to leave any question unanswered. There's no negative marking. So let's try our luck, right? So make sure you are attempting all the questions. Leave matlab, don't waste your time solving it. Just mark karo, tukka, and go ahead. Okay, Dushyant, the first result of the first window should be out within the next 30 days, like 15-20 days after the window is over. Divya, yes, it's okay if you solve the examples in the basic books. Ankita, clocks and calendars, good question. You have to attempt it. You have to study. Okay, make sure you're studying all the questions, all the chapters. Anmol, you cannot rely on all the sets in your approximations because the options are going to be pretty close in some of them. That's why DI is lengthy. Okay, great. Now let's move on to our next section, which is the most interesting section, that is your logical reasoning. In fact, in today's analysis, this was the most toughest section because of the time it required and balancing the 38 minutes time and 40 questions. Okay, great. So let's understand what came up in your logical reasoning paper. As expected, 8 questions were from analytical puzzles, which were fairly easy and moderate based on your seating arrangement and all of them. Okay. Then you had verbal reasoning, 10 questions. Remember yesterday's session also I told you verbal reasoning is very important. 10 questions are going to come from there. Here you have it, guys. That's your most scoring area. It took a little time because a lot of people were not able to understand the questions. For guys who've been listening to me and have been solving verbal reasoning questions, you will not find this lengthy because they were easy, direct questions based on conclusion, course of action, strengthening, weakening, which is nothing but your critical reasoning, and inference-based questions. Okay, out of this, a lot of more questions which you all can usually expect is based on your course of action and inference-based questions. Okay, guys, no skipping any chapters. Topics which were not covered in the exam, you will still study them. Don't leave anything in option. This is NMAT we're talking about. Of course, if I said today there were one question of percentages, it's not necessary it's going to be there tomorrow as well also, right? It could be from averages as well. All right, so make sure you're doing that. Input output was very easy, only one set of 4 questions. So all you guys who were fearing input output, be very happy, just one set. Okay, and the most scoring and the best part today was you had a lot of questions from your basic LR. Coding, decoding, 4 questions. Blood relations, which were your family tree, and syllogism questions 2. Yes, syllogism was asked. Okay, then you had 2 questions based on direction sense, which were very, very easy, not at all tricky. We had 2 questions from set theory also, which was again easy. A little time consuming, your mathematical operations and symbolic operations. Okay, so mathematical operations and symbolic operations, you had 4 set of questions, which is nothing but, you're given a series of numbers and some operations to be done like plus, minus, or I tell you P hashtag P hash Q stands for P into Q, these kind of numbers. So basically your operations based on numbers. This just took a little more time. It was not difficult, but took time. Then you had your number series questions. The missing series, find the next number. Okay, all of those questions you had 4. These questions tend to take time because not necessarily the logic strikes you right at the beginning. So make sure you are giving that much time and justice to it. Okay. Overall, if I talk about the difficulty level of the paper, it was easy to moderate. The only thing which took time was your verbal reasoning for guys who have not practiced it. Okay. And you had your number series, which was more time consuming. Comparatively, this was the toughest section in terms of your time management skills. Okay, that is what is the problem. Hardik, I have been mentioning how many were easy and moderate. Your analytical puzzles, easy, moderate. Verbal reasoning was moderate. Input output, very easy. Basic LR, very easy. Set theory and diagram was moderate. And then your mathematical operations, and this was there. Okay, this kind of distribution of questions, Parinita, will be expected throughout. Of course, number of things will vary. You could have 2 questions of inference based tomorrow or something like that, so that much variations will be there, but overall this is the major split. Like, you know, the major topic wise you could have such kind of questions. The major difference can come probably tomorrow you have 3 analytical puzzles, right? So it could be 8 to 12 questions, okay, which is there. Now, which questions should be left in this and what order do you follow? In logical reasoning, start with your basic LR questions. They are very easy. Okay, so start with your basic LR questions, then move on to your analytical puzzles, and then do verbal reasoning, input output, and keep the number series and mathematical operations towards the end, because it depends on how to strike the logic. Which set to leave, depending on the difficulty level, you can leave one puzzle or you could leave the number series questions. Leave means randomly mark and move ahead. Okay, guys, same thing again. All of you are asking the same questions. Will we have the same split of questions? Of course not. It's not going to be the same split of questions, but it's going to be similar. Maybe tomorrow you have 3 questions of coding, decoding, and 3 questions of blood relations, right? So be alert for that and keep and understand what all you have to study and what split of questions come. Okay, Swapnil, repeating the order again for you. Start with the basic LR, then do your analytical puzzles, then do the other questions like set theory, Venn diagram, and then do verbal reasoning, followed by your number series and lengthy questions and input output. Okay, so that's going to be really helpful for all of you guys. Okay, so summarizing it again, it was an easy to moderate question, and do not worry about it. The only concern was time management. So what you have to do is, in each of these questions, keep an upper limit, 45 seconds. If you're able to do, great. If not, move on. Okay, so 45 seconds is your time limit for your logical reasoning section. Coming to the last section, which was your verbal ability section. Okay, so here again, we saw a lot of questions coming from vocabulary based questions. Okay, where we had 1 synonym question, 4 antonyms questions, 1 analogy, and 1 fill in the blanks. There were 2 different types of them. Okay, so the fill in the blanks were there. You had double blank questions like normally, and you had 3 blank questions based on your prepositions, which was like the most easiest, even a school kid could do it. Okay, so that was highly scoring. Then you had close passage based on your prepositions, again 4 questions. Okay, then we had grammar, the spot the error in grammar, 3 questions, parajumbles 3 questions, and reading comprehension 8 questions together. Okay, so this is what your entire paper was there. It was an easy to moderate question. The only reason people were slow was the RCs were time consuming, which it always is. If you follow the rule of 30 seconds here, you will not have an issue. Okay, so 30 seconds per question, do and move on. And while attempting the paper, this should be your order. Start with vocabulary, then close passages, then your grammar, followed by parajumbles, followed by your reading comprehension. Okay, leave the RCs towards the end. They were very moderate questions, not very easy and not at all difficult. Okay, so they were moderate RCs today. Start with vocabulary, then close passage, grammar, parajumbles, and RCs. In between, you could also expect instead of grammar to have critical reasoning questions. It's okay, no worries, keep the order same. Okay, a few of these guys felt that vocabulary was time consuming and difficult. It was only because guys have not studied vocabulary. For people who have been studying vocabulary, this was not a difficult area. It was an easy to score. And I think most of you guys, if you have been doing it, would find it easy. RCs, you should have at least 10 minutes for your RCs. Because vocabulary based questions take 10 seconds, not more than that, right? So keep 10 minutes for your RCs. All right, great. So moving ahead, now the most important question with a lot of you guys have been asking, where do we study from vocabulary? Because that's the most trickiest part, right? People who have not been following what to study from vocabulary are the ones who found the paper lengthy from vocabulary point of view. Rest of you guys would be able to find it easily. Okay, in fact, this is a screenshot of our CATKing basic book, which you have. One of the sub questions which I found was circulated from there itself. We had quite a lot of vocab questions. I'm sure you guys would have been seeing around the various groups and what kind of questions have been coming, but y'all can keep doing that. It may help, it may not help, all right, but make sure you're studying from all the things. Okay, so some of the vocabulary words which most of my students have told today were very easy, like chivalry, vicious, all of them, right? So that's very easy words, chivalry and vicious. I'm sure you guys have heard about that before, so make sure you are doing definitely. Okay, and apart from that, the where to study from, make sure you are definitely studying from Norman Lewis. People who have not done it, run through the videos of Norman Lewis, that is there. Then you have the CATKing basic books, do the synonyms and antonyms as well as the fill in the blanks from it, and then do the NMAT official guide. For guys, you don't have the CATKing material, you can drop in a note, get a hold of the CATKing books from one of our CATKing centers, which will help you to do it and understand pretty well. Okay, so this is what you have to keep in mind for your vocabulary section. Okay, so that is going to help. So if you can see in the screen the books which have helped you, like the kind of vocabulary words. Apart from that, you had chivalry, vicious, pretty easy questions. So vocabulary, in my opinion, was very easy so long as you have studied it. For people who have never studied vocabulary, of course, you're going to find it difficult, right? Hardik, no part A and part B, word par made easy. That's there. Swift, I don't know what's your name, but Swift, only basic books will not be enough. You should do the Norman Lewis, then the basic books. That much is still enough, and do the NMAT official guide. Personally, these three things are a must and mandate to do for your vocabulary. All right, great. So I hope you guys have understood about now what came in the paper. Now coming back to some of the questions which all of you guys were asking. Can we leave rest of the topics? No. No topics to be left. Okay, you have to study all of them, definitely. All right, now can we start with the questions? No, we will not start with the questions, guys. We will have more things, your expected cutoffs and how should you study, all of them. Okay, Santa, yes, they are mostly hidden in the middle between. And Nishtha, this is I think the second time I'm saying the NMAT official guide. Yes, the 1000 words of NMAT official guide you must do. All right, great. Now coming to the most important summary slide. Take a screenshot of this slide and keep with you guys. Okay, this is the most important slide for you to keep in mind. The overall paper difficulty and the expected cutoff. Okay, now the expected cutoff will vary, of course, when it comes to the actual exam. But overall, you can see easy to moderate quants and DI. Okay, where the DI was a little lengthy, but the overall difficulty was easy to moderate. A good attempt would be somewhere around 27 to 30. Now, what do I mean by good attempt is number of questions which should be correct. Okay, so 27 to 30 is a good attempt. The expected cutoff would be in the range of 71 to 75. Logical reasoning, though there were 38 minutes, 40 questions, since they were lengthy questions, we are reducing the good attempts to a little lesser this time from 23 to 27. So the cutoff could be 65 to 68. But if the exam comes easier or less lengthy in the next few days, keep a target of 30 to 35 questions to be attempted in your LR section. Okay. Then your language skills, where you will have 20 to 25 questions is a good attempt. Cutoff is as it's usually, it's between 50 to 55. Overall, the cutoff would be expected in the range of 208 to 211. So there's no much difference in the expected cutoffs because the paper is on the same lines as it has been always. Kshitij, you've been asking the cutoff for Navi Mumbai. The Navi Mumbai cutoff could be somewhere around 170 to 180, depending on how the cutoffs go for NMAT Mumbai. But I would suggest you guys to keep the target on NMAT Mumbai right now. Okay, no such things of giving the exam on the first day or the last day or midway between is difficult or advantageous. No such things. Kinjal, no strategy for marking answers randomly. Take a smart guess. Read the question, eliminate what will not be the option, and choose your answer. Don't go by any strategy, any logic which people say that you have mark all B, then mark all C, and random orders. Don't follow any of them. Okay. There is no such thing as maximum scores that can be removed and all of them. Okay. Akash, what will be the cutoff for MIBocconi? Good question. For guys who do not know about MIB or Bocconi, it's an amazing college, especially for people who are looking for, global exposure. It's an Italian college where you have Ray-Ban, Gucci, all of these companies which come in for placements. An amazing place to get, an international exposure where you get time to spend in the Italian campus as well also. In fact, we should be doing a detailed session. We could ask, Alessandro to come down to train you guys on your GDPI and how to give your interview skills and interact with them, where we could discuss the more details about the cutoffs as well also and know from him more, in fact. But it's a good college when it comes to your global exposure. Okay. Bangalore cutoffs could be around 198 to 200. Okay, great. Let's move on to understand now what you have to do on the day of the exam. Like a lot of you guys were asking me questions like which section to choose first. So keeping in mind which section to choose, since we have the liberty to choose our order, we are going to be focusing on 3 strategies or 3 approaches. One, which is the D-Day strategy, which the first strategy is keep your best foot forward. That means start with your strongest section, whatever it is, be it quants, LRDI, or verbal, whichever you are good at. Start with that strongest section, then move on to the midweek section, and then end with the weakest section. This will help you to understand that you're scoring as much as you can. All right. Time management, which you have to keep in mind, is same for all the strategies. Quants 60 seconds and move on. LR 45 seconds, move on. Verbal 30 seconds. Okay. So that is very much important for all of you guys to keep in mind. Okay, your strategy, which is best foot forward, whatever is your strength, start with that. Okay, moving on next to the strategy 2, which is the verbal first. This is what I personally recommend students is whatever it be, start with verbal. Whether you're good or bad, start with it because it's 22 minutes. Your entire section will get done. You will not even realize it. Plus, you will be more fresh, so you'll be able to read faster. Your RCs will go on faster for you, and after that do logical reasoning so that you're being able to do analytical skills, and then do quants because quants is more focused on formulas, so you can do it towards the end. Okay guys, questions in the last 10 minutes so that we are able to understand your schedule and study plan as well also for the next few days. Vocab, yes, Shreya, definitely gets repeated. We'll talk about cutoffs for all the courses. Keep your focus right now on understanding and aiming for the highest. All right. The highest cutoff is going to be of NMAT Mumbai, so that's going to be 208. Great. So moving on next to the other strategy, apart from verbal first, is the iterations strategy, which I do not recommend for most students because it's very time consuming. I would suggest highly to go with the second strategy, which is verbal first. But nevertheless, the third strategy says pick up any section and do 3 rounds of iterations on it. That means first start with your easy questions, get done with it. Then run through the entire paper, do the medium questions. Then run through the entire paper again and do the difficult questions. Okay, so that's the approach, which is for very smart guys, who are able to look at the question and say the difficulty level, only then try it. Great. So I hope all of you guys have been able to understand. Guys, Trust me, I'll answer all your questions. Which camp is better? What should your approach be? How many mocks and everything? Keep your questions for a while. Hold on for 10-15 minutes. Understand what you have to do because it's going to help all of you guys. All right? A particular window is 17 days. Okay? Great. So now what we have covered up till now, a quick summary of that is what was the time limit for each section. Okay, then we have discussed and spent some time on understanding your how the paper today was there in terms of number of questions which have come, okay, in each topic, in each section. Then we have also spoken about your expected cutoffs from all of the sections and the overall cutoff. Then we spoke about 3 strategies. First, start with your strongest section first. Second strategy was verbal first. Do verbal first, come what may. Third is the complex strategy of doing multiple iterations like easy, medium, and difficult questions. Okay, great. Now that we know what all has been done, let's move towards understanding what should you be doing in the next few days. Like most of you guys have been asking, what should my approach be? I have my exam on 15th, on 16th, or 2 days, how many mocks to give, what to do, what not to do. This is the same schedule which I had given a few days back. For guys who have followed it are definitely going to do well. For guys who have not yet followed and still in the dilemma, should I study from NMAT official guide or not? Never too late, but guys, start right away. Your NMAT official guide book is helpful for each and every section. Okay, get up every day in the morning, give a mock every day. Give it at the same time slot when your actual mock is. It's the same schedule as before, guys. So make sure you're giving a mock, then doing 50 questions from the NMAT official guide, and do 50 solved examples from the CATKing basic books. Guys who do not have the basic books can reach out to me towards the end of the session. I could let you know the nearest centers for you to get an idea and collect the books from there. Okay, it's never too late. Start now itself, but please do it. Okay, so this is your mock schedule, and get hold of mocks which are the most realist mocks, closest mocks to the real NMAT. Okay, the closest mocks to the real NMAT are your NMAT official guide and also the CATKing mocks. This is what I will recommend for all of you guys. Okay, I hope you guys have taken a screenshot of your mock schedule. Post this up on your walls and keep giving the mocks and give yourself a target to increase the scores accordingly. Okay, each mock should be doing better. On an average, you should be in the range of 210 to 230 in your mocks to make sure you're definitely able to do that. Okay, great. So now coming to most questions, what do I do next? Since all of y'all have that question now, what to do now that you know what the exam is all about, right? So this is what you have to do. 1, give one CATKing mock daily and give the NMAT official guide mock. The mock which is available on their website as well as the mocks which is available in the NMAT official guide book. Okay. In addition to them, for each of the sections, you have to study the following things. For logical reasoning, the NMAT official guide completely and the CATKing basic books. Okay. Anuttam, yes, it is pretty much similar to that. Second, for verbal, vocabulary is a major chunk. Vocabulary from Norman Lewis, official guide, and the CATKing basic books. Okay, vocab comes from all of these things. Gaurav, mocks are not freely available. You can take in the mocks. Okay, then you have quants. For quants, don't leave any chapter in option. Each chapter, pick up the basic books and do 10 solved examples. Okay. Priya, if you've completed that, keep giving more and more mocks. Shalini and Gaurang, these are mocks which are a little difficult, higher than your actual expected NMAT. Shreya, we've discussed the ideal attempts and clearing the cutoff sections. We will do that again and the summary towards the end once again. Okay, great. Then you have your DIDS. Revise all the questions of your basic books again for DI. DS comes from your questions based on quants, your arithmetic, your algebra and equations, all of those chapters itself. Okay, so that's there. Swapnil, your chances are good, but it all depends on how you perform on your final day of the exam. Okay, all right. Difficult, Advait, definitely difficult. Kshitij, you can practice with offline mocks, but I would not advise that because at the end of the day, the exams is online. So you should be ready with the practice of the time keep and also giving the online exams. Okay, great. So this is all which you have to keep in mind for all of them. Okay, like a lot of you guys were asking me about the placements of MISB and what it is and how the campus and cutoffs are. So this is a quick overview of the MISB Bocconi. Like I said, they are accepting all your scores like NMAT, CAT, GMAT, GRE, all of them. In fact, you guys would, while attempting or filling in your forms, you would have the option to select MISB Bocconi on it. Definitely go ahead and choose that when it comes to people who are looking for fine exposure in terms of your global experience, right? So that would help. For someone who would ask me the average package is 10.11 and the highest is 21 lakhs, which is good enough, right? Plus, you have a lot of faculties who are from Milan. In fact, there we would be having Alessandro coming in, who's the director himself, to train you guys for your GDPI so that you all are doing well. In fact, they have one more teacher, Seema ma'am, who's from Harvard Business School, and she was my teacher for communications. So we will try and rope her in as well also to train you guys for your GD and PI. Right now, just focus on getting a call. Be rest assured, we'll take care of your converting the calls. Make sure you're doing well. The cutoffs would be varying in the range of 190 to 200. Rest, Hemant, we can come to know because MISB is more over a profile-based college. So they look for people with good profile. Miloni, I think the intake is around 100. So you guys can also go and do a little bit more research on their website and getting all of them. Kshitij, yes, you can run through the website and get some more insights about all of them. Okay, we will have a detailed session in further ahead as well also to understand more about it. But this is primarily a good option for you guys, for you all are filling your forms right now. Put in MISB as one of the options and go ahead for that. In case if you haven't, you could reach out to MISB website and understand how to go ahead with that. Okay, great. So now like I promised all of you guys, we will keep the last 10 to 15 minutes for your questions. You can shoot in your questions. But before I take up all the questions, I would quickly like to summarize once again your good ideal attempts and your expected cutoffs for all of the sections, because a lot of you guys were asking that questions, and that is the most important. Okay, so this is our most important slide. Keep this with you guys, definitely. Okay, so summarizing once again, your good attempts in quants and DI was 27 to 30 questions. Then your expected cutoff was around 71 to 75. Logical reasoning, somewhere around 23 to 27 is a good attempt. And you have 65 to 68 expected as the cutoff. Verbal section was easy to moderate, where you have 20 to 25 as a good attempt and 50 to 55 being your cutoff. Okay. Excuse me, guys, for that. Yes, now we can have discussion on all the questions. Diksha was asking, where do we study verbal from? Guys, I have given you all the list of books to study. CATKing basic books, NMAT official guides. That's it. If your test is on 8th Samiksha, just keep revising your formulas, revise your Norman Lewis book, and give 2 mocks. Yes, Meghna, they're a good representative of that. Shikha, you can check out the videos from Rahul CATKing on YouTube. You can keep noting that down. It will help you that. Vocab words do come from the NMAT official guide, definitely. Words do get repeated many a times in the same window, in different windows. It happens. Yes, Aditi, geometry can be done in 3 days. You just have to make sure you're doing the formulas pretty well. Yes, Shreya, you will have to apply separately on its official website. Just have a look at the website. You will get more insights on it. The minimum gap between days. Vidhi, normalization happens per question. So it's overall section. Diksha, I just answered your question. Verbal reasoning, NMAT official guide, CATKing books. That's it. Matam, I did not understand which abroad options were you talking about. So be more specific about that. Hemant, how many attempts? I would say definitely 3 attempts. For your second attempt, Advait, you can register after 2 days. Shrutika, yes, there are sectional cutoffs, which is why we've kept up this slide open. What are the expected cutoffs in each of the sections? So please remember, NMAT has overall cutoff plus sectional cutoffs, 4 cutoffs. Okay, so Shipra, you have to study from that. I don't know what was your question. You could ask it again. Vidhi, this is normalization. There is no range for it. Guys, don't delve into areas which is not your concern, right? So you have a lot of people asking, how is normalization done? How many questions, X, Y, Z? Don't do them. Don't think so much about it. Minimum how many marks, Shardul, you should be giving at least 5 to 6 marks. Thanks, Aishwarya, for sharing the vocabulary video for everybody. This is the video which you guys can have a look at. Jyotsna, first attempt is 26. After 15 days, you can take the second attempt. Minimum gap between 2 windows, Shipra, is 15 days. Kshitij, it depends on how people perform. That's all completely. How to boost off your confidence, Priya? Keep practicing. Give mocks which are realistic to the closest to the actual mocks. Don't do too many difficult questions and keep studying and practicing. Advait, 4 years of experience should not be any problem. Hemant, no, they do not have any sectional cutoff. Vocex does help to some extent because your overall more focus is on 70% is on NMAT. Pharma MB also has a cutoff which is around 195 to 200. Mukul, non-RC questions, 30 seconds per question. That's it. Nikhil, yes, it does come. Nayan, NMAT Pharma, I just told the cutoff 195 to 200. Kshitij, we do not have any webinar tomorrow. The next webinar is going to be for verbal, which is going to happen on Monday. So you guys can sign up and have more interaction with Rahul sir as well on your verbal ability, how to study for vocabulary, where to do it from, and going ahead with that. Neil, after all the sections, like I mentioned, the difficult question is the toughest was LR to manage your time. Okay. Akshara, consistently scoring 60 in your verbal ability without vocabulary, it's a good thing. So make sure you're doing that and still going ahead with vocabulary as well also. Gaurang, advice for working folks, score as high as you can. Sangya, how to improve your verbal section, do more of vocabulary. That is definitely going to help. Do more of vocabulary and verbal reasoning questions. That will help. For guys, if you've missed the starting, yes, it will be there on your YouTube live. You guys can check out there and we'll share the recorded video with y'all. Mukul, NMAT Mumbai does have sectional cutoffs. This is the slide. Take a screenshot of it. Each section sectional cutoff is there. Jyotsna, closest to the actual mocks, you could refer to the CATKing mocks. The link is given below here, or you can reach out to me on my number. That's 9833 982 635. Time management for working professionals is please take out 1 hour every day at least. Diksha, verbal reasoning from the NMAT official guide as well as the CATKing books. Okay, great. So does any one of you guys have any different questions? Any more questions? Let me know. Advait, focus a lot on increasing your scores in each section. Revise your basics once again. Pooja, it's good, but aim for a 210 plus. Arusha, good average score in mocks would be 210 to 230. Abhishek, you do not have to carry anything to the center. Make sure you carry your admit card, because that's the only thing which will be allowed. Rest everything, you'll be having lockers outside where you will be keeping them. Vidhi, it sometimes does call people. Okay, for DI, practice your shortcuts and formulas and then go ahead with that. Shidil, I would say focus majorly on the NMAT Mumbai campus first and then look all for the other campuses. Definitely Mumbai would be the best. Yes, all of them are good. Nishtha, you can buy it online and we will get the books shipped to you. Mukul, NMAT Mocks, all of you guys should aim 210 to 230. Okay. Parinita, criteria for MISB is pretty elaborate. It's based on your overall academics, your profile, and your NMAT or CATs, whichever entrance exam score that you've given, and a lot focused on your achievements, your extracurricular activities, and all of them. Sandeep, they're a little difficult, so yes, you can go beyond 210 in your actual mocks. Hemant, yes, you can apply. On the screens, it's 9833 982 635. Okay, for guys who are asking the number once again, I should post it up here. Okay, so that's my number. You can reach out to me on that. Jay, I would say do LOD 1 and 2 both. Yes, harmonic progression is a part of the syllabus. Paths, don't avoid para-jumbles unless you read the question or you're not able to do. Miloni, follow the schedule like I shared, where you're giving a mock every day and 50 questions. That should be your schedule for the next 20 days. Middle, the cutoff for everybody is 208 to 211, how much it can be expected. WorkX, no WorkX, there's no difference. Some of the words which came today were vicious and chivalry. Rest, I'm sure all of you guys could discuss with your friends who've been giving the exams to get an idea. Otherwise, you will not be able to give 2 attempts in the same window itself, but I would suggest give it in the next window. It will be helpful for you. Ankur, I would say give mocks which are relevant to the most actual mocks. That's why I'm saying NMAT official guide and CATKing mocks, so that you know where you're landing actual scores. Rugved, yes, there is a free mock available for NMAT as well also. Yes, questions are repeated in different test windows. They do get that. Pramod, I think you'll have to check the fees on the website, but it's around 25. Do not keep any max time, guys. It's for verbal. Cylinder, yes, they could get repeated. You never know. No hard and fast rule that it will or it will not specifically. Okay, so I hope you guys have enjoyed the session. I'm going to take the last 2 questions. Okay, and then we will sign up for today. Let me know what are your 2 things that you would like to discuss. Thanks, Gaurang, for sharing the words with all of you guys. All could take notes of them. Jay, last year's quants questions, I think a lot of people would have discussed at multiple platforms. You could have a look at that. No such thing as normalization increases by end of October. Normalization happens throughout a window or throughout. Ankita, it could. You never know. In terms of the kind of questions and what should you study, how you should study, what mocks to give. For guys who have been giving all different mocks which are difficult level and scoring in the between 90 to 100 and 150, please don't give those tough mocks. Start giving real actual CAT level, NMAT level mocks. So you could have a look at the NMAT 2017 mocks by CATKing. That's your NMAT maximizer, and that's pretty much important. If you have any doubts or questions, you guys can reach out to me. So for people, I have written down my number up on the screen. You can reach out to me and we could discuss more at length. A quick summary of everything. You have your cutoff would be between 208 to 211. So follow that. The last question which you had, the order to be followed for your verbal and reasoning. Start with vocabulary, move on to your verbal reasoning and those kind of questions, and last reading comprehensions. Yes, Jay, all of this will be shared with you guys online itself. Yes, Divya, give CATKing mocks definitely. Anshul, I just shared the plan with all of you guys a few minutes back, so please make sure you give all of them. Okay, so that's really going to be helpful. Sangya, I think the vocabulary words need not be separately done. You can study from the Norman Lewis and the NMAT official guide and CATKing books. That's going to be more than enough, more than the rest of the videos. Okay, great. So I hope all of you guys had a great time. You have any doubts, any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Make sure you go relaxed, calm, and composed for your exam and go for the kill. Don't worry and go and kill it. Okay, so it's a fairly easy exam, so keep the stay positive and make sure you do well. Okay, great. So all the best, guys. Hope to see you guys and eagerly waiting to see you guys for your NMAT GDPI training. Okay, all the best. Do well and crack it with a 210 plus. Okay.